Hello guys and welcome back to another skill point guide video for Total War Warhammer 3 on Immortal Empires. Today we'll be going over Teclis, and he's one of my favorite high elf legendary lords to play as just because of how powerful he is as a spellcaster. Now he definitely benefits from having a little bit of an army, but more times than not he's able to solo just about every single army that he goes up against. Especially, obviously, his base stats are not very good in melee, but once I put him back on his Arcane Phoenix mount here, you can see he gets magical attack, gets fire attack, does quite a bit of armor piercing damage as well, gets some physical resistance, fire resistance, and obviously as we spend some more skill points, get some more items. His items are very powerful with the Scroll of Hoeth. Also gives him, wins of magic power reserve capacity plus 20. Gives him, reduction in wins of magic cost for regrowth, ward save, melee defense, missile resistance, all this stuff. Really, really fantastic. Although the magical attack is a little bit redundant here with his sword, still really useful because you get wins of magic cost for chain lightning, the sort of Teclis. With his spell mastery plus 30%. He also gets great. Oh, never mind. I thought he did. Yeah, he does get greater arcane conduit, so he's up to 140%. Just really powerful legendary lord. So now, in terms of spending points, pretty straightforward. It's all about him. I do like to grab Root Marcher, but other than that, it's all about him. I do like to put 2 points into Flock of Doom, Chain Lightning, Regrowth to start off with, down his magic line. And then coming to, at rank 7, you will unlock Sublime Focus, and then at rank 10, you'll get Shield of Sapphire, which we will get some of his passive abilities, much like Kairos. Some of these passive abilities make him very, very powerful from there. But then I do like to grab the Flaming Sword of Ruin. I really am starting to like this quite a bit, mainly due to the Chaos Dwarves giving a imbuement of magical attack, which obviously you can see early on. You're going to be going up against some siege forces with Sartorial, and then Kairos himself, and the Nurgle faction. I believe the other minor faction down here is Slanesh. So you're going to be fighting against quite a bit of demons early on. And I do like to grab missile units when you can recruit them for the High Elves. Really powerful missile units in that faction. So I do like to grab that, and then, but then after that, I like to grab the Bound Fiery Convocation, and end up grabbing all of his magic line abilities there. The Enabling Foe, good to reduce some melee defense and melee defect. Net of Amotok helps to completely halt an area of enemies, so your missile units can do some more damage there. Pair that with your enemies, weakening them, Chain Lightning, Flock of Doom, whatever you want to cast on your enemy, you can do it there. Now his extra, because he kind of has like 2 special skill lines with Sublime Focus and also his passives here, and I do like to grab quite a few of them. Obviously Sublime Focus just to unlock it, but grabbing that extra Winds of Magic Power Reserve capacity plus 5 is pretty beneficial. Potential Energy, again, more power reserve, extra speed for him, which is really good, gonna make him harder to hit. Magical reserves, again, increasing your magic power reserve, greater arcane conduit, just some extra power recharge rate, but also the spell mastery, making your spells do more damage. Glamour of Hoeth, not necessarily for the passive, but more for the melee defense and physical resistance, really handy. And then the Master of Order, just because it really does, or because it affects all characters faction-wide for the Lore Masters of Hoeth and Mages for ward save, and then also the hero action, success chance, and cost benefits there. Not really concerned with that one as much, but more about the ward save that it provides in case you want to get more Lore Masters and Mages in your campaigns there. So I do like to grab all of that down that line. Now, in terms of his passives, I like to grab quite a few. Shield of Sapphire, just some extra ward save, and you're going to be casting loads of spells all the time. If we, granted, if we ended up getting his items, we'd have even more Winds of Magic cost reduction for spells, but if we go and check it out, like for Flock of Doom, it only is going to cost him 5 Winds of Magic, and your power reserve is going to be through the roof, especially after you fight Kairos as well. You're going to be able to increase that even further, I believe, unless they change that to when increasing. I just can't remember. But for the passives, I like to grab Life Bloom just so you're constantly healing as you're casting for a little bit. Smoke and Mirrors just to give himself some extra speed. Life Leeching for the unlimited winds of magic possibility. Wild Heart for the power recharge rate plus 80%. And then the big one is Manifold Sorcery. Granted, this is a little bit of a nerf. It used to be, I think, -2 winds of magic cost. Now it's only minus 20%. So it's not just a flat, -2, that kind of thing. But if we look at it, after we select it and we exit out, it'll kind of like refresh it. And it still drops it down to 3 winds of magic cost for the Flock of Doom. So it definitely still helps. It makes your spells super cheap. You're going to be casting loads of spells with him, which makes him such a great spellcaster. Arguably one of the best, if not the best, spellcasters in the game. But, that's pretty opinionated on who is the best, because there are a lot of various factors going into that. I usually pass on the Exorcism one. It's really not that beneficial. The extra leadership +4, it's very minimal impact there, so don't worry about grabbing that. Kindle Flame can be useful. It just depends, if you end up tying that up with casting a spell and then using the Bound Fiery Convocation. Other than that, none of his other spells do fire damage. So unless you have a Fire Mage in your army, which I wouldn't really recommend doing, because he's the one that's going to be doing a lot of the casting, because he can cast things for so cheap. So I usually pass on Kindle Flame and Metal Shifting as well. You're just not really going to benefit from it that much. And the Rolling Skies, it's really rare that the enemy brings loads of flying units into the a battle. Now, unless you're going up against Kairos repeatedly, or for some reason you're just going up against loads of flying units, then potentially get it. But other than that, I really don't see much benefit in getting the Rolling Skies ability there. It's kind of one of the spells, the passives, the rest of the passives are kind of the ones where, if you have points at the end of a campaign, why not spend them? But if not, it's nothing that you really want to focus on early on. Anyway, going into more of his points, I do like to grab the Potion of Shirai, giving him some more heals per second and ward save temporarily. Although it does increase your cooldown, it can be pretty useful in a pinch if he's taking loads of damage, and he just needs to be able to reduce the amount of damage he's taking, as well as providing him with some heals per second there. So I do like to grab that. He is a single entity. He's going to be targeted quite a bit because of his size and his potential, damage potential. So grabbing him that spell resistance just to make him a little stronger against spells such as Spirit Leech. And then also, once he is on his Phoenix Mount, he's going to be a much larger entity. So grabbing him some extra ward save will be beneficial there by 10% there. So really beneficial to grab that. Now, we still have quite a few points to spend. So again, this is where it kind of come into play. Do you want to focus on some of his army at this point? Do you want to go down his blue line? Do you want to get some of his other passives? It's kind of up to you. Personally, I like to grab down his blue line a little bit. I like to grab the Merchant Lord. This is because it's a faction-wide bonus. You're going to be increasing the amount of tradable goods that you can have to sell. So, since that is a global bonus, I do like to grab that. Wary isn't terrible, just to unlock the rest of his blue line and continuing down it, just for some extra ambush defense chance. The other ones, the control or the recruitment cost, I'm not really concerned with that as much. Elven Scholar, is really good because it increases your magic item drop chance and research rate. Really good. It's the only way I believe the high elves have to buff the amount of research rate that they have permanently. That way it doesn't take, I think it's like 7 or 8 turns to get some of these later technologies in your campaign, as well as the cultural advancements like for court advisors and rapid resettlement, that kind of thing. So really beneficial to get that. I believe you can get this at rank 16 if you wanted to focus on that. I don't recommend it though with him, but just in case you want to use some other lords when they get to rank 16, that kind of thing, just to nudge in that direction there. Anyway, don't mind grabbing some upkeep cost reduction. It's mainly about getting the campaign movement range here with the Renowned and Feared. You could do Elven Healing, you could do Lightning Strike. It really doesn't matter. It's just up to you, personal preference. Pick your poison, that kind of thing. No harm there. And which one you want to pick, it just comes down to you personally. Now, lastly, we still have 11 points to spend. I know that's quite a bit. You could, end up going down his red line a little bit. you know, it's really up to you. Personally, I don't really buff that many of his units. He's going to be the one doing loads of the damage anyway. You could honestly end up running with probably just basic archers the majority of your campaign. I've done it a few times. I have gotten like some phoenixes with him just kind of for, you know, basically why not? Like what the heck, let's do it, that kind of thing. But it's really not necessary in his specific campaign that you focus on your red line like at all. There's just no real point to it. So here I do like to grab Mentor just so he starts spreading some of that experience that he would just be wasting. And then here is where I'll grab, you know, the rest of them, Metal Shifting, Rolling Skies, just in case you run into a situation later on in the campaign where the extra weapon strength and armor piercing weapon damage could be beneficial. And then same with the Kindle Flame, in case you start, you know, causing fire damage in various ways, or run into some more flying units that you'll more likely run into in the later parts of the campaign anyway. And then your last 5 points, I usually like to just spend them finishing up in the red line, and just do Wary and like Elven Healing or something like that. Again, the blue line is kind of like pick your poison. You could do Lightning Strike, you could do Elven Healing. There's really no right or wrong when it comes to the blue line most of the time. It just comes down to personal preference to a greater extent. But anyway, that's kind of a longer video. There's a lot to talk about there, but that is how I choose to level up Teclis. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, how you go about leveling them up. You know, if you do things differently. Again, I'm always curious to know how you guys go about that. But don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you guys have not already. And until the next video or live stream, hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you later. Bye.